A British woman who travelled to Syria 4 years ago to act as a recruiter for a so-called Islamic State group has reportedly been killed in a drone strike. Sally Ann Jones, who was originally from Kent, became a high-profile supporter for IS and used social media to encourage Western girls to join them. Our security correspondent Frank Gardner reports.
Iconic, threatening and British. The propaganda pictures of the jihadist recruiter Sally Ann Jones, who went to Syria in 2013 with her young son Jojo and joined so-called Islamic State. She married this man, Junaid Hussain, a computer hacker, later killed in a drone strike. Together they plotted attacks on the West and pumped out hate-filled propaganda online.
She was this slightly telegenic-looking white woman who had gone to join the jihad against Bashar Assad. So having her on side, I think, was really important in terms of projecting the idea that they could get into the very reaches of British society.
Sally Ann Jones made this Syrian city her home. Raqqa, the de facto IS capital, now heavily damaged by airstrikes as the group's self-proclaimed caliphate shrinks by the day. Ms. Jones was reportedly trying to leave, even to come home to Britain. But US and British intelligence had her in their sights. A missile strike by a US Air Force drone, similar to this one, reportedly killed her in June, close to Syria's border with Iraq. It's not known if her son was with her. Her death would bring to at least 6 the number of British jihadists with IS killed in drone strikes.
The point is the Americans will focus on individuals who they see as a specific threat. I think what we saw with a cluster of Britons was that they were involved in actively trying to direct plots in other countries. We've seen this happen in the United States, we've seen this happen in the United Kingdom and in other countries as well. And so they're targeting those individuals who they see as a specific threat. And we know from other details and other research that there were some British individuals involved in this sort of direction.
Jones was useful to IS for publicity purposes. But now that the group is on the verge of military defeat in Iraq and Syria, her death will have little impact on its already shrinking fortunes. The former punk rock singer from Kent, who turned 50 this year, is now likely to be one more of the hundreds of Western recruits to IS to perish in the collapse of its caliphate.
And Frank is with me now. So these are still just reports of her death, but we haven't had it categorically that she has been killed.
No, and in fact the Pentagon, the US Department of Defense have said we still can't confirm it. We conduct drone strikes every day. But it's US intelligence officials that have been passing word to their British counterparts that they think it's very likely they have. It would take a special forces team on the ground to gather DNA to prove it conclusively, but I think it's probably true. Is it going to make any difference to them militarily on the battlefield? No, absolutely none. So-called Islamic State are seeing their caliphate shrinking every single day. Where she was of value to them, though, is in recruiting and being this iconic figure who popped up as a thorn in the side of the British government and Western governments generally, goading them, recruiting people to come to join the caliphate, helping to plan attacks. She was married to somebody called Junaid Hussain, who was a very competent computer hacker. He even hacked in, reported into Tony Blair's address book at one point. So her loss to them in propaganda terms is quite significant. In military terms, won't make any difference.
Frank Gardner.